Hello, everyone. I'd like to thank the organizers of this meeting for inviting me here today. And first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Yali from City University, Malaysia. As you can see on the screen, my topic today is investigating the linguistic features and the teaching moods through romantic poetry of the 19th century that are taught in the colleges of China. I'd like to divide my presentation into 8 parts, so let's move on to the first part, the background. The linguistic features in the 19th century in poetry have been popular for its spontaneous emotional flow. Compared to today's poetry, there's a lack of emotional support in many cases. And the reflection of the entire combination of the human emotions such as love, joy, fear, hope, regret, and faith was founded in many cases of the poetry of romantics. Thus, learning management alongside the implications of teaching styles have requirements for mitigating the problems of foreign language teaching in Chinese colleagues. And as for the problem statement, teachers in colleagues in China are lacking the skills and ability in English literature. The students they're lacking the knowledge of the background, the context, the ideas, the points want to convey. And also the most important the things is that the linguistic features, which are all needed to be taught by the colleague teachers. In this context, it can be also added that the adoption of learning management can lead to one of the most important solutions so that teachers' ability and knowledge of English literature and the linguistic features of 19th century Romantic poetry have been improved. Here it can be addressed that the effectiveness and the development and management of skills can help in resolving those problems. The next part is about literature review. As for the importance of learning about the linguistic features of the early 19th century, the sound system, the grammatical structure, the vocabulary, and other factors have a huge influence on the linguistic features of English literature. The linguistics has the importance of helping people to understand the world based on its unique conceptualization of the world. And also, I like to talk about some factors which affect the changes in the linguistic features in English in the modern era. As for the modern era, several changes have taken place which have influenced the linguistic features of English literature and language. The influence of the writing's experience in the modern age or even different kinds of content or types in the writing pattern of Romantic poetry has led to the changes in the linguistic features of English in the modern era. In terms of finding the reason for distorting the efficiency of the English language on the conceptual aspect, the importance of cross-cultural acceptance is very important, which cannot be ignored. Thus, there are some strategies for increasing the literature and linguistic studies in colleges in China. We can use the education and training among teachers through the learning management, which are also excellent for reflecting the insight of Romantic poetry of the 19th century English language among the students of colleges in Jiangxi province. And for example, the importance of industrialization in Europe had been considered the most important factor for its linguistic movements. About the methodology. First, I use the quantitative approach in this research, and which is based on the assumption or the reality of the phenomenon. And in my writing, there are some semi-structured interviews with 3 teachers have been conducted. On the other hand, the explanatory research design has been used, which are used for collecting information in a context that is not well researched as of now. And the next part, findings. As we can see from table, the list of category, theme, and sub-theme related to strategies associated with the linguistic features of Romantic poetry of the 19th century. The sub-themes are the first one, the changes occurred in the linguistic features of Romantic poetry in the modern era as compared to the early 19th century. The second is the increasing the literature and linguistic studies in colleges in China is highly significant. The next part is about linguistic features of early 19th century. The Romantic poetry had huge influence. The linguistic features of the early 19th century has the potential of making students understand the ideas, values, and thoughts of the poets at that time. And a deeper understanding of cultural context can also help in shaping the way language had been used during that period. And also, during the early 19th century, famous literary works have been produced by famous authors such as Yali, Allan Poe, and Jane Austen. There are some changes occurred in the linguistic features of Romantic poetry in the modern era as compared to the early 19th century. In the modern era, the linguistic features have become simpler and accessible in the forms of language. And the contemporary points has always been focused on using symbolism or imaginary. Based on the interview, modern points have less symbolism, and there is a more suggestive approach which has reflected a shift towards everyday life. As for increasing the literacy and linguistic studies in colleagues in China, which is highly significant. Okay, first, we should focus on the linguistic studies. It has the role of improving language proficiency and even the communication skills of students. And also the literary and linguistic studies have also provided a platform for students in order to develop a global perspective and understanding of different cultures in China. The sixth part is about discussion. The use of the language during the 19th century had been mentioned in the Romantic points as well. And on the contrary, the form of the language as well as the linguistic features of Romantic poetry have become simple and accessible in the modern era. And also it has been argued the literary and linguistic studies have been significant for students in order to develop a global perspective while developing an understanding of different kinds of cultures. There are some suggestions for the further studies. The first one is based on the findings and discussions. More future studies are suggested in order to provide a comprehensive information with regard to the linguistic features of Romantic poetry of the 19th century, which are mostly taught in the colleges of China. And in further studies, it is recommended to implant the quantitative research method with a more broad sample size. This can help in determining the difference between the linguistic features in the 19th century and modern times in a more detailed way. And in this aspect, the research is expected to produce various findings as the linguistic features of Romantic poetry has a broad aspect. Okay, the final part is about conclusion. From the above discussion, it can be concluded the significance of the linguistic features on the Romantic poetry of the 19th century, which has a huge significance in colleagues of China. And also there's a semi-structured interview of three teachers. The college teachers have taken place in this research. The references. Okay, thank you. That's all.